Hi, I'm Carrie,
And I'm Karen.
and this is the Carrie and Karen video training series. This is episode 3, where we bring you to the State House, virtually anyway, and walk you through the process of how to fully engage and demystify the legislative process. So, my name is Carrie Duran, and I'm the legislative liaison for Lakes Region Community Services. I'm also the parent of a daughter with a developmental disability. I live in Wolfboro, and I'm coming to you from my living room.
Hi, I'm Karen Blake, and I am the coordinator of public policy and marketing for Northern Human Services. I'm also a parent of a child with a developmental disability, and I am also coming from my living room.
And today we always start our videos out with a disclaimer.
So just to let you know that Northern Human Services and Lakes Region Community Services are non-profit entities. We are nonpartisan, and that means that we don't take a position or support or endorse any political party, any candidate, and or any legislator.
Thank you for that. So, on our last video, Karen, we took everyone through the process on if you have your bill number, how to look that up. What are we going to do today?
Okay, so now we need to find when that public hearing is. So every bill in New Hampshire has a minimum of one public hearing in each of the legislative bodies. So let's take a look at GenCourt. This year, we're doing everything with GenCourt. This is really your go-to website to find everything that you need to know about what's going on in Concord this year. So if we could scroll down.
All right. I just wanted to mention something, Karen, that for everyone to keep in mind as we are doing this, and it is the early part of February in 2021,
Right.
that this website and how this process works, it is changing daily. Is that correct, Karen?
That is correct. It is evolving as they go, as they continue to try to make it accessible for everyone here in the pandemic to be a part of the legislative process. So much so that, we just found out today that they are continuing to tweak when the remote testimony and the sign-in starts and ends. So right now, today, if you sign in you have until midnight of the day that a bill is being heard to sign in either in support, in opposition, or neutral. And you have until 8 a.m. in the morning to sign in to testify.
Perfect. And
right.
So I wanted to mention too that this whole online process, it enables many of us who live in the northern part of the state or the far western part of the state. It has allowed so many of us access to these hearings and to testify than we've ever had before.
That's true. And even though, and for those families that are working or have to be there for their children, especially during remote learning, and don't have the time to go to Concord, this has really opened up access for everyone to participate in the process. But let's find out what's happening in Concord this week. So to find out what public hearings, what executive sessions, and committee meetings are going on, you're going to go to the links to remote meetings section. So let's go to the House calendar, please, Carrie.
All right.
Ta-da! This is where you're going to find out everything that's happening this week online in Concord and beyond. So as far as New Hampshire goes, every single bill has to have, again, a minimum of one public hearing, but all meetings are open to the public. So even if they're in executive session or maybe they're having a work session, we are still allowed to view it. It's the public hearings that we actually get to speak. Okay,
so that is wonderful. That's wonderful.
So let's take a look at today.
Okay.
Now, what's going to be very important for this legislative session is knowing the committees. Both the House and the Senate have standing committees. So the bill that we were talking about today, if you remember from the last video, House Bill 623 is actually set in finance. So a bill is introduced and then assigned a committee. So let's go to House Finance today, Carrie.
All right, so if I am also noticing, Karen, up here, if it's in hearing, it's in blue, a meeting green, and a purple is session day. Could you please let me know or explain to our audience what these all mean?
Sure. The blue is for a public hearing or an executive session at this moment. A green would be a work session that the committee is working on some of the bills. So after they have a public hearing, they have to have an opportunity to work on the bill outside of a public hearing, but those meetings are still open to the public. And purple is a session day. So that means that the full House or the full Senate is going to come together and vote on bills.
Perfect. All right, so I'll head down. It looks like House Finance. It's blue. It's hearing today.
Great. So, so what you can see here is the calendar for the day for this committee. So again, this is just for House Finance. So it shows the date, the time, what building, remote, and then the bills that are listed for the day. Now, they cannot have a public hearing without there being notice. And just to let you know that legally, they only have to give 3 business days notice to a public hearing. So that's why it's good to come and take a peek at where your bills that you're interested in are going to have their public hearing. Then if you look down below, you have these great links right to the meeting. So you have Zoom meeting or a YouTube meeting. Just to really clarify, if you do the YouTube live stream, you are strictly just watching the meeting. If you do a Zoom meeting, you do have the opportunity to raise your hand and testify when they get to the open comment section of a bill.
So, and I know we're going to do a different video on how to testify.
Right.
But do you, if you want to raise your hand, so say you're watching this hearing, you weren't planning on testifying ahead of time, but
Right.
all of a sudden you're feeling it, you want to say your piece. Do you have to also send in a written testimony to back up your verbal testimony?
It is a really good idea to have written testimony to submit to the committee. And you can submit that testimony after the hearing. You don't feel like you have to have that already to the committee because they may want to review what you said. The other piece is that you may only have 1 to 2 minutes to get your ideas out there. So you really want to have that written testimony that's sometimes to go into more in-depth of your opinion on a bill.
Perfect. So if I am wanting to go to this hearing and we're looking at HB 623 and I am just staunchly as a private citizen opposed, how do I register that I'm opposed without speaking to the committee?
Sure. So let's go back to the Gen Court homepage. What Carrie was just asking was, how do you test it? How do you submit an opinion on a bill without testifying? Now, this is going to sound strange, but even though you're just submitting an opinion, you actually want to go to House remote testimony.
Okay. Oh, wasn't this one?
But that's great that you went there too, because in case you wanted to go step by step, this gives you all the information that you need on how to register and support or opposition to a bill. So let's go
perfect.
back.
Well, up here?
Perfect. So now, this is how you register your opinion. So you have to first pick a day. So the hearing today was the 9th. And again, committees are really important this legislative session. So we're going to choose House Finance. And then you choose your bill. And you have to select who you are. So I am
I'm a member of the public.
You're a member of the public, but they do have other individuals, and then representing myself. That's more for lobbyists. I am a lobbyist representing who you work for. Okay, now indicate your position on this bill. You're either in support of the bill, in opposition to the bill, or you're neutral on the bill.
And why would you say you're neutral? How does that help the legislators make their decision?
Neutral, it seems odd, but particularly if you're going into a bill that you don't have a position on, it allows the legislature to know that there is still interest there, and that your opinion could change, especially after the public hearing. Because once you get all of the information of all the people who may be in support or opposition of that, that might help you change. That might help you make up your mind.
All right, perfect. Well, so if I were actually to do this, I would choose support or oppose, and then I would hit continue, and that would send it in, correct?
Right. But just to note that if you do indicate, you have to indicate a position to get to the next little box, I will testify. So
we're not sending this in, so
we're not sending it in.
Here.
And then you click, I wish to speak on the bill. Just to let you know, at this moment in time, if you do not sign in to testify, you will not be on the master by 8 o'clock in the morning, the day of a public hearing. You will not be on their master list, but that does not stop you from testifying. You would just, in the course of the public hearing, when it's time for open comments, you would then raise your hand.
So question, Karen, so if I click right now, I wish to testify, it asks how many minutes. We definitely want to keep it a couple of minutes, just
2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes. But
they're not going to give you more than that, especially in the House.
But if I don't want to testify, do I have to hit this in order to have my position?
You do not. You can just yep. And then it will show down at the bottom that gives you the opportunity to double check what you're saying, because this is an official sign in for this bill. So it all has to be exactly what you're supposed to be representing. So, the date of the bill, the committee's House Finance, when is the public hearing? I am a member of the public. I am representing myself. I am in support or opposition for the bill, and I do not wish to speak on the bill. Now, even if you do that, in the public comment section of a public hearing, they always give you an opportunity for the public to speak. You can raise your hand. So, it's just by saying you don't want to testify here doesn't mean that you're out of it.
Okay. Now, last question. Once I submit this, is it now public record?
It is. Okay. It is. And that's why you really want to be careful that everything is correct.
All right. So I can just hit cancel, correct?
You can. So what happens after this is you will be given, when you hit continue, it'll bring you to another page that then you will put in your name, your email address, and your phone number.
Okay. So I'm going to hit cancel right now for those who are watching, and this is not a public record because I'm not continuing.
Because this is live. We're doing this live. We don't want to log an opinion at this time.
Okay, so I'm going to go back here and go back really quick to the House calendar. Here we go to Tuesday, go back to House Finance, go down to the bill we were looking at. And
Mhm.
so if I wanted to testify, I would hit Zoom meeting.
Correct.
And just to clarify for this video, they're not meeting at this time.
They are not.
So it's telling me there's the meeting isn't there. So, but normally, as Karen said, it would pop up and ask for your name and email to officially be part of the Zoom meeting. Is that correct, Karen?
That's correct. And just to also point out that this is the same for the Senate. They do not have combined calendars. So if you're looking for a Senate bill, you have to go to the Senate.
Okay. Anything else before we close up this particular section on the schedule or the calendar?
It's really important to know what committee that your bill is in this year. That's really where you're going to find out all of the pertinent information for public hearings. So, really keep an eye on the committee that the bill is currently in. And I have to remind everybody that bills start in one committee, but they can still go to a second committee in the same legislative body. A lot of bills that have an FN after their number will go to one committee for the substantive part of it, and then go to House Finance to talk about the appropriations for it.
Wonderful. Well, and I think many of us have seen the video, I'm Just a Bill, and I think yes, I think our next video we will, in our training series, we'll talk a little bit more about the process of how an idea becomes a legislative service request, comes a bill, and becomes law. So we will go over that in our next video. So I just really want to thank everyone for joining us for video number 3 in our Carrie and Karen training series, Demystifying the Legislative Process in New Hampshire. We are so grateful that you joined us today. And Karen, thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge with us. And again, thank you so much. I'm Carrie.
I'm Karen. Thanks, everyone.
See you
Bye-bye.
next time. Bye.